Logline, trapped in my arch nemesis's body, I'm a deadbeat with $1 billion empire to ruin. But he's in mine, and he wants his life back. Revenge is a dish best served chaotic. Prologue. Me, Ethan Miller, a guy Marcus Thorne, the cutthroat billionaire CEO, had driven to bankruptcy, buried under a mountain of debt, and left with nothing but a broken heart and an ex who ran off with a trust fund kid. Then one morning, I woke up, and my soul was crammed into his body. Oh, and I'm tethered to a snarky karma kicker system. A system that actually wants me to sell off-company secrets as scrap paper and hire the cleaning lady as the VP of innovation. Seriously? Marcus Thorne, that cold, calculating titan of industry. He'd used every dirty trick in the book to acquire my little startup, leaving me saddled with a $3 million debt. My girlfriend even left me for another guy because of it. He stood on top of the world, crushing me under his heel, treating me like dirt. Now, the tables have turned. His body, his company, his entire empire, it's all mine now. My goal is simple. Blow through his money, wreck his company, and let him taste the sweet agony of falling from grace. But the bastard is also trapped in my deadbeat body, desperately trying to infiltrate Ascendant Dynamics and reclaim everything. The battle of bodies and fortunes has officially begun. Flashback sad face me as the CEO, Olivia, sent out a memo. Everyone gets the afternoon off. The company's heading to Arcade Empire for some Mortal Kombat tournaments. Olivia, adjusting her glasses. Mr. Thorne, you have meetings with 3 major investors this afternoon. Me, tell them if they can beat me, the contracts are signed. Olivia, a few days later. Me as the CEO, Olivia, I'm starving. Grab me 2 spicy street tacos, extra hot sauce from that food truck across the street. Olivia, deadpan Mr. Thorne, you never eat street food. Me, I'm feeling a little run down. Is that a problem? Olivia, mouth twitching, silently placing the order. Of course not, Mr. Thorne. A month later, Olivia. Mr. Thorne, your old body. No, I mean Mr. Miller is attempting to breach security at the lobby again. Me, feet propped up on the desk. Let him up. Perfect. My new VR horror game needs a beta tester. My name is Ethan Miller, an aspiring future millionaire. In other words, I was a deadbeat. 1 minute ago, I was in my cramped studio apartment, getting an earful from my landlady, Mrs. Henderson, for being 3 months behind on rent. It was her usual friendly, albeit aggressive, verbal education. The next minute, I was lying on a king-size bed that could fit my whole family if I still had one. Sunlight streamed through massive floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating dust motes dancing like specks of gold. I was utterly bewildered. This wasn't my dingy apartment. My place wasn't this clean, and the ceiling still had a water-stain map from my upstairs neighbor's leaky pipe. I jolted upright, a hangover-like headache making me wince. I scanned the room, minimalist decor in shades of black, white, and gray, screaming, I'm rich but too cool to show off. A glass of water sat on the bedside table, next to a blister pack of what looked like very expensive antacids. Had I been taken home by some sugar mama? No. With my ramen and debt-ravaged face, no sugar mama would be that desperate, even if she'd been drinking bathtub gin. I peeled back the silky sheets and looked down. 8 rock-hard abs, 2 sculpted V-lines, and, well, let's just say I was well endowed. This wasn't my body, years of dedicated service to instant ramen, soda, and late-night binges, boasted a single, unified dad bod as fertile as a Midwestern cornfield. I stumbled into the bathroom, practically crawling, and the man staring back from the mirror made me gasp. A face so handsome it should be illegal. Chiseled jawline, high cheekbones, eyes that could pierce steel. I knew this face. I knew it intimately. Even if he turned to dust, I'd recognize him. Marcus Thorne, the bastard who drove my startup into the ground, saddled me with a $3 million debt, and sent my girlfriend running. The ruthless capitalist who built the corporate empire known as Ascendant Dynamics. How the hell did I become him? Dang, a monotone, synthetic voice echoed in my head. Host soul successfully integrated. Body compatibility 99.8%. Karma kicker system officially activated. System. I stared blankly at my reflection. Yes, host. This system is designed to assist you in comprehensive, deep-level retaliation against the target individual. allowing them to experience the harsh realities of life and the unpredictability of fate. Target individual. Marcus Thorne. Correct. I pinched my thigh. A sharp pain shot through me. Not a dream. Ethan Miller, a complete and utter failure, had somehow switched bodies with my most hated enemy. And it came with a revenge system that sounded decidedly unhinged. A tidal wave of euphoria washed over me. Marcus Thorne, you son of a bitch, you like being on top? You like being in control? Now, your body, your company, your money, it's all mine. I tried to mimic Thorne's usual cold, deadpan expression in the mirror, but I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing, a giddy cackle like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm going to turn the empire you painstakingly built into a playground of chaos. Newbie mission. Within 30 minutes, shatter the $8 million Ming Dynasty porcelain vase in Marcus Thorne's study. Mission reward. Newbie gift pack. Mission failure. Host will be electrocuted for 1 minute, experiencing a thrilling out-of-body experience. I blinked, then a wide grin stretched across my face. This is a mission? Breaking his $8 million vase? This isn't a task, it's a bonus. I bolted out of the bathroom and made a beeline for the study. Thorne's top-floor penthouse was ridiculously huge. I nearly got lost in the hallway. Luckily, the study door was ajar. As soon as I stepped inside, I spotted it. The porcelain vase perched elegantly on an exotic hardwood pedestal. It radiated an aura of ancient beauty and undeniable wealth. I walked over, stroking the vase like a long-lost love. So smooth, so perfect. $8 million. Enough to pay off all my debts and still buy a house back home. Too bad. It had to die today. I picked up the vase, weighed it in my hands, then raised it high above my head. Marcus Thorne, this is just the interest. I slammed it to the floor. Crack, a crisp, satisfying sound. $8 million instantly became a pile of shimmering fragments. It felt better than winning the lottery. Mission accomplished. Newbie gift pack issued. Please retrieve, host. A virtual gift box opened before my eyes. Congratulations, host, you have received 1. Body control. Basic, you can now fluently use this body, including but not limited to eating, drinking, and using the restroom. 2. Memory fragments. Minor, you have gained basic memories of Marcus Thorne's habits, such as his bank pen being 6/8, his extreme germophobia, and his shellfish allergy. 3. Skill. Photographic memory. Trial. 24-hour duration. I processed the new information flooding my mind. Not bad, especially that bank pen. A true lifesaver. Wait, if I was Marcus Thorne, where was he? A chilling thought struck me. I rushed back to the bedroom, rummaged through the closet for a wrinkled, off-the-rack suit, hastily pulled it on, grabbed the car keys, and sprinted out the door. Thorne's garage held a collection of luxury cars. I picked the least flashy one, a Porsche, and set the navigation to my old apartment. I blazed through 8 red lights, hitting top speed. Who cared? Thorne would pay the fines. 40 minutes later, I pulled up to my old, rundown apartment building. I took the stairs 2 at a time, up to the 5th floor, and fumbled with my key. The door swung open, and there he was. Or rather, there was me, inhabited by Marcus Thorne. He stood in the middle of my living room, face twisted in disgust, his brows furrowed so deep you could get lost in them. The place was a disaster zone. Ramen bowls, beer cans, dirty socks. The unique funk of a perpetually single guy. My landlady, Mrs. Henderson, hands on her hips, was spitting fire at him. I don't care. You don't pay rent today, you're out. Don't think just because you look like a GQ model, you can skip out on your bills. Pretty faces don't pay the rent these days. My face, the one Thorne was wearing, was a canvas of shock, fury, and utter bewilderment I'd never seen before. He looked at me, his lips trembling, pointing at me, then at himself, unable to utter a single coherent word. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a smug grin on my face. Well, if it isn't me, I said. Looks like you've hit rock bottom, huh? Marcus Thorne, now the Ethan Miller version, instantly flared with rage. He lunged at me like a cornered beast. Ethan, you bastard. What have you done to me? I sidestepped, easily evading him. Please. This body was the result of Thorne's years of intense gym workouts. His body, however, had been thoroughly neglected by me. He missed, stumbled a few steps, and almost fell. Mrs. Henderson, startled by the commotion, instantly went into battle mode, grabbing Thorne by the ear. "Oh, you want to get violent now, huh? Think owing money makes you special?" Thorne, who had probably never experienced such humiliation, yelped in pain. "Let go. You shrew. Do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. The president himself would have to pay if he owed me rent." I pulled a wad of cash, about $10,000, from my wallet and handed it to Mrs. Henderson. "Ma'am, this is 3 months' rent, plus a little extra for your trouble. My friend here, he's got a few screws loose. Please bear with him." Mrs. Henderson's eyes lit up at the sight of the cash. She instantly released Thorne's ear and even brushed some dust off his shirt. "Well, why didn't you say so sooner? We're all neighbors here. Young man, just make sure you take your meds, all right?" She hummed a little tune and walked off. Only the two of us remained in the apartment. Thorne stared at me, his eyes burning with a desire to tear me limb from limb. "This was your doing," he snarled. "Yes and no," I shrugged. "I woke up like this, but I'm quite enjoying it. Mr. Thorne, this Armani suit is a lot more comfortable than my old Amazon Basics tee." I puffed out my chest, showing off the perfectly sculpted muscles. "You." Thorne trembled with fury. "You just wait. I'll get everything back." "Oh, I'm waiting." I stepped closer, leaning in to whisper in his ear. "But before you do, you might want to figure out how to pay off that $3 million debt I'm still carrying. Oh, and the interest is compounding. At this rate, you might spend the rest of your life in my body, paying my debts." Thorne's face instantly drained of all color. I reveled in his despair, a surge of satisfaction bubbling inside me. "Enjoy your new life, Mr. Miller." I patted his cheek, then turned and left. As I closed the door, I heard his furious, powerless roar from inside, followed by the sound of something breaking. "Smash away, buddy." The most valuable thing in that apartment was a crappy old box fan, anyway. Back in the penthouse, I took a hot shower, feeling like I'd washed away all the grime and bad luck. In the mirror, Thorne's face still held a hint of its usual pale, aristocratic look, but his eyes now sparkled with my signature, mischievous glint. Just as I was admiring my new skin, my phone rang. Caller ID, Olivia Chun. The memory fragment in my brain told me she was Thorne's personal assistant, Olivia Chun. Incredibly capable, cool as an AI, yet with a figure that was undeniably stunning. I cleared my throat, trying to make my voice sound as cold and detached as Thorne's. "Hello, Mr. Thorne, good morning. You have a board meeting at 9:30, a meeting with Mr. Wong from Starbright Capital at 11 o'clock, and at 2:00 p.m. I interrupted. "Stop. Cancel all appointments for today." Silence on the other end. A full 10 seconds. I could picture Olivia's expression, a furrowed brow, her eyes filled with the thought, did the boss eat something weird today? "Mr. Thorne, are you certain? Today's board meeting is critical. It impacts our strategic deployment for the next quarter." Her voice remained calm, but her tempo quickened slightly. "I'm certain," I said. "Also, inform HR that the company is closing this afternoon. My treat. All employees are going to Arcade Empire for an afternoon of gaming." The line went silent again. This time, it wasn't confusion. It was pure shock. Marcus Thorne, a capitalist who squeezed every second out of the day, demanding 25-hour workdays from his employees, was treating the entire company to an arcade. The chances of that happening were lower than a comet hitting Earth. Mr. Thorne." Olivia's voice was a little shaky. "Are you feeling unwell?" "I'm perfectly fine." I smiled at my reflection, a smirk I thought was suitably boss-like. "It's decided. Oh, and tell them whoever beats me in Mortal Kombat gets a $10,000 bonus." With that, I hung up. I could imagine the earthquake this news would cause at the company. This was exactly what I wanted. Slowly, piece by piece, I would dismantle the godlike image of Marcus Thorne in their minds, transforming the rigid, hierarchical empire he built into my personal playground. Daily mission: attend the board meeting in boxers and flip-flops. Mission reward: acting skill, basic, providing divine assistance in B2C operations. Mission failure: publicly moonwalking while pantless. I stared at the system notification, speechless. System, do you have some kind of misunderstanding about me? I'm here for revenge, not public humiliation. But then I thought about the failure penalty. Fine, Public humiliation it is. It's Thorne's reputation, not mine. I rummaged through Thorne's walk-in closet, found a pair of silk boxer briefs, and then located some flip-flops in his shoe rack. I checked myself in the mirror. Upper body, an expensive, tailored shirt, unbuttoned 3 times to reveal a solid chest. Lower body, flamboyant pink boxers, paired with flip-flops. The look like a slick trust fund kid who just rolled out of a Yacht Week party and was dragged into a meeting before he could change. Perfect. I drove the Porsche straight into the underground garage of Ascendant Dynamics. As I walked into the glittering corporate lobby in my scandalous attire, the entire world seemed to go silent. The receptionist's smile froze, her coffee mug almost slipping from her hand. Employees passing by were stunned, frozen in various odd poses, staring at me with blank eyes. I could almost hear their internal monologues. Holy crap. Is that Mr. Thorne? Did he get hypnotized? What's he wearing on his lower half? Is this content I'm not paying for? It's over, it's all over. Ascendant Dynamics is going down. The boss has officially lost it. Ignoring everyone's stares, I strode with an air of absolute defiance toward the executive elevator. Ding! The elevator doors opened. Olivia stood inside. The moment she saw me, a tiny crack appeared on her usually unshakable Ice Queen face. Her gaze slowly dropped from my face, down to my boxers and flip-flops, then quickly snapped away, as if she'd seen something unspeakable. Mr. Thorne. She took a deep breath, fighting to maintain her professional composure. Your outfit is unique, is it? I stepped into the elevator. A faint scent of expensive cologne mingled with Olivia's cool fragrance, a pleasant combination. I feel quite comfortable. And comfort, my dear, is paramount. The elevator doors closed. In the confined space, the atmosphere was thick with awkwardness. Olivia kept her head down, staring at her tablet, but her peripheral vision kept flicking to my legs. I'd bet anything she was currently playing out a dramatic flick titled The CEO's Meltdown, a modern tragedy in her mind. Olivia, I suddenly said. Yes. She instinctively looked up. Do you think I'm handsome? You winked her. Olivia froze. She stared at me, her expression unreadable. After a few long seconds, she managed to force out 2 words through gritted teeth. Yes. Handsome. Exactly. I nodded in satisfaction. When you're handsome, anything looks good on you. The elevator reached the top floor. Olivia practically fled, her footsteps unusually brisk. I leisurely followed, admiring her perfect silhouette in her business suit. TSK, Thorne, you certainly knew how to pick a good assistant. The boardroom was already packed. All of Ascendant Dynamics core executives, in suits and ties, looking perfectly respectable. When I pushed the door open, the entire room fell silent. All eyes like spotlights zeroed in on me. Their expressions ranged from shock to bewilderment to outright existential crisis. The VP, David Allen, whose hairline was making a strategic retreat, sat beside the head of the table. His pen clattered onto the table. Mr. Thorne, he stammered. I ignored him, walked straight to the head seat, propped my flip-flop-clad feet on the conference table, and sprawled out. Meeting started, I announced succinctly. Dead silence. No one dared to speak. They were probably all wondering if they were collectively hallucinating. Why is everyone so quiet? I scanned the room, my gaze stopping on a man wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Mr. Thompson, you first. I hear your Phoenix chip project is 3 times over budget and less than halfway done. Mr. Thompson's face instantly went white. Marcus Thorne was a ruthless data and results-driven individual. Under him, there was no credit for effort, only for achievement. Over budget, behind schedule. In the past, that would have been enough to send Mr. Thompson packing. Mr. Thorne, Mr. Thompson stood up, sweat dripping down his forehead. All right, save the explanations. I waved a hand. Explaining is just deflecting. Here's what we'll do. Go downstairs and give me 2 spicy street tacos, extra hot sauce, and an iced Coke. 20 minutes. Get it done, and we'll pretend this never happened. Huh, Mr. Thompson was utterly baffled. Everyone was baffled. They stared at me like I was an alien. Huh, what? I said impatiently. Don't understand plain English? Or do you think my reputation, Marcus Thorne's reputation, isn't worth 2 tacos? Mister. Thompson flinched, his soul snapping back into his body. Understood. I understand. Mr. Thorne, please wait. I'll be right back. He scrambled out of the boardroom, as if chased by demons. I watched his retreating back with satisfaction, then turned my gaze to the others. Anyone else have issues? Or anyone want to join Mr. Thompson on his taco run? Everyone shook their heads furiously, practically trying to shrink into their chairs. Good. I snapped my fingers. Since everyone's on board, let's talk business. I announced that, starting today, Ascendant Dynamics corporate culture is changing. I stood up, looking down at this group of usually high and mighty elites. Before, we talked about grit, about the 24/7 grind, about KPIs. From today, we talk about humanity, about work-life balance, about mental and physical well-being. I'm announcing a few new policies. First, all forms of overtime are canceled. Clock out and go home. Anyone who stays an extra minute will have their bonus dock. Second, we're establishing an internal anti-hustle culture oversight committee to specifically catch those secretly working late. Catch one, they get a company-wide reprimand and have to buy their entire department coffee and pastries. Third, I paused, a devilish grin spreading across my face. We're hiring Brenda Johnson from the cleaning department as the vice president of the newly formed User Experience and Innovation Department. Boom! The boardroom erupted. Everyone started whispering and murmuring amongst themselves. He's lost it. Mr. Thorne has really lost it. Letting a cleaning lady be VP? What kind of move is that? It's over. Ascendant is doomed. David Allen, the bald VP, bravely stood up. Mr. Thorne, this isn't protocol. Brenda, she can't even use a computer. How can she be VP? Protocol? I scoffed. At Ascendant, I am protocol. Brenda has been with the company for 10 years, keeping this place spotless every single day. She knows every corner of this company better than any of you. She knows the true state of our employees better than any of you. She listens to you complain about products in the bathroom and gripe about leadership in the break room. She is the one who truly understands user experience. As for innovation, I tap my head. Innovation happens up here, not on a resume or in a degree. Brenda can make an automatic plant watering device out of an empty water bottle. Can any of you do that? The room fell into another eerie silence. My twisted logic had stunned them into submission. It's settled. Olivia, issue a company-wide announcement. Olivia stood behind me, her face expressionless, but the knuckles of the hand gripping her tablet were white. Yes, Mr. Thorne, she quietly replied. Just then, Mr. Thompson burst back into the room, panting, a plastic bag in his hand, containing steaming hot street tacos. Mr. Thorne, your order. I took the bag, opened it, and inhaled the aroma of cumin and chili. Delicious. I grabbed a taco and, in front of everyone, took a large bite. Chewing, I mumbled, good stuff. Mr. Thompson, you have a bright future. The Phoenix Chip project is forgiven. Next time, though, tell the truck to go heavy on the hot sauce. Mr. Thompson bowed repeatedly, looking immensely relieved to have survived. The other board members, watching me eat with sauce dripping down my chin, looked like their entire worldview had shattered. The cold, ascetic, germophobic business emperor they knew was currently sitting in a $1 million boardroom, in boxers and flip-flops, chowing down on street food. The image was too surreal, too impactful. This was exactly how I wanted to tell them, in the most direct, most brutal way possible. Times have changed. From today, at Ascendant Dynamics, Ethan Miller, called the shots. Over the next few days, I turned Ascendant Dynamics upside down. I abolished all KPI assessments, replacing them with a happiness at work index. The higher the index, the bigger the bonus. I set up a vegetable garden in the rooftop Sky Garden, encouraging everyone to plant veggies during work hours, calling it Connecting with Nature, inspiring creativity. I even transformed the executive suite into a full-blown gaming lounge with 10 top-of-the-line computers, declaring 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day esports social hour. Anyone was welcome to challenge me. The entire company went wild. Employees transitioned from initial apprehension to tentative exploration, and finally, to pure ecstasy. They discovered that while the boss had gone crazy, he'd gone crazy in a way that greatly benefited them. No more overtime, paid slacking off, and even playing games with the CEO? What kind of dream company was this? The company's stock price, thanks to my insane antics, plummeted. In 3 days, its market value evaporated by nearly $1 billion. Financial headlines screamed, Ascendant Dynamics CEO Marcus Thorne allegedly mentally unstable, business empire on brink of collapse. I read the news, sipping an iced Coke, my heart soaring. Fall, baby, fall. The more it drops, the better. Ideally, it delists entirely. Now, that would be exciting. That son of a bitch, Marcus Thorne, would probably have a stroke if he saw this. Speaking of Thorne, he hadn't been idle these past few days either. Through Olivia, I kept a discreet eye on his movements. The guy was a total protagonist cliché, even in my body. Despite being in dire straits, he quickly adjusted. He first leveraged some old favors I owed to find a construction job, solving his immediate need for food and shelter. Then, with the first money he earned from manual labor, he booked an all-night session at an internet cafe. Using his understanding of financial markets, he managed to turn a few $100s into several thousand in the crypto market, securing his first pot of gold. Next, he rented the cheapest server he could find. Leveraging his old coding skills, he started building a platform, clearly cooking up something big. Interesting, I murmured, stroking my chin as I reviewed Olivia's investigation report. Mr. Thorne, should I take care of it? Olivia asked, her expression calm, as if discussing a minor inconvenience. After spending these past few days together, I'd gotten a good read on her. She was cool, efficient, and fiercely loyal. No matter how outrageous my commands, she executed them meticulously. Take care of it? No. I chuckled. Let him play. I'm curious to see what tricks he has up his sleeve. How much of a threat can a tiger with its teeth pulled really be? I had severely underestimated him. Or rather, I had overestimated my authority in this body. Friday afternoon, I was in my office, fragging noobs in League of Legends with a couple of tech geeks. Olivia suddenly knocked and entered, her face grim. Mr. Thorne, we have a problem. What's up? I asked, my Yasuo landing an EQ combo in a flash, turning a sliver of health into a mid-lane kill. My mood was great. The company's internal servers have been breached. I frowned. What are our firewalls for? The intruder's technique is extremely sophisticated, bypassing all defense systems. And Olivia paused. They seem to be very familiar with our server architecture. My heart sank. With that level of skill and that familiarity with Ascendant servers, there could only be one person, Marcus Thorne. What did he steal? I asked. We're still investigating. The tech department is running an emergency scan. I exited the game and stood up. Let's go. To the server center. Ascendant Dynamics Server Center was on the 3rd basement level, heavily guarded, requiring triple authentication for entry. When Olivia and I arrived, the entire tech department was gathered, every face etched with worry. What's the situation? I asked the CTO, a middle-aged man whose hairline was receding like the tide. Mr. Thorne, the CTO wiped sweat from his brow. The intruder? They copied all the core source code for our Ascendant OS 3.0 system, which were scheduled to release next quarter. My pupils contracted. Ascendant OS was the lifeblood of Ascendant Dynamics. This mobile operating system was their only trump card against foreign tech giants. If the core code was leaked, the consequences would be catastrophic. Can you track their IP address? I asked, my voice low and grim. The CTO shook his head, looking defeated. They used a dozen layers of proxy jumps. The last known location was somewhere near the Arctic Circle. Untraceable. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath. Marcus Thorne, you're ruthless. This was a sneak attack, cutting off the very foundation. He knew that as long as the Ascendant OS core code was in his hands, I wouldn't dare mess with the company too much. It was like a leash around my neck. Mr. Thorne, what do we do now? Olivia whispered beside me. Should we call the police? The police? I shook my head. Useless. This is commercial espionage. Evidence is hard to gather, and the investigation would take forever. By the time the police figure anything out, our launch event will be ruined. Then, call an emergency meeting immediately. All department directors and above must attend. I open my eyes, a cold glint flashing within. Also, prepare a gift for me. What kind of gift? A sarcastic Employee of the Month plaque, I said. For Mr. Ethan Miller. Engrave 8 words on it. Outstanding work. Keep up the spirit. Olivia. Half an hour later, the emergency boardroom. The atmosphere was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I briefly explained the situation. All the executives looked ashen. It's over. It's all over. Ascendant OS 3.0 is our biggest growth driver next quarter. With the code leaked, where are we going to launch? The stock price is already plummeting. If this news gets out, it'll hit rock bottom tomorrow. I listened to their wails, saying nothing. Only when everyone had finished did I rap on the table. Everyone done. The boardroom fell silent. Code leaked, and the sky is falling. I scoffed. You people, making millions a year, and this is your emotional resilience? But Mr. Thorne, without the core code, with David Allen, the bald VP, wailed. Who says we don't have it? I interrupted him. The source code, it's still right here. I tapped my head. Everyone froze. Mr. Thorne, you mean? Exactly. I stood up, surveying the group. My voice was not loud, but clearly reached every ear. Every single line of code for Ascendant OS 3.0 is in my head. From now on, the entire tech department will work nonstop for 72 hours. I, Marcus Thorne, will personally lead the team, coding on-site, to rewrite the entire system. I don't care what methods you use. 3 days from now, I want to see a brand new, even more groundbreaking Ascendant OS 3.1 exclamation point. Of course, this was all bravado. I, Ethan Miller, a liberal arts major, knew squat about code. But I was gambling on the fact that the photographic memory skill Thorne had left me was still active. These past few days, even while I was slacking off, I made sure Olivia brought me all the technical documentation for Ascendant OS 3.0. At the time, I just thought it was interesting. Now it was proving invaluable. All those complex code structures and architectural diagrams were now as clear in my mind as if they were physically printed there. In the boardroom, everyone was stunned by my bold declaration. They stared at me, their eyes filled with disbelief. In their eyes, Mr. Thorne, though recently behaving oddly, was still, at heart, that omnipotent business emperor. What are you all staring at? I roared. Get to work. Everyone snapped out of their stupor, rose to their feet, and charged out of the boardroom as if injected with adrenaline. A battle to save Ascendant Dynamics had begun in the most absurd way possible. Over the next 72 hours, I barely slept. I lived at the company, eating, drinking, and sleeping in the server room with the programmers. Relying on the memories in my head, I dictated line after line of code, which dozens of programmers simultaneously typed, compiled, and tested. Initially, they were skeptical, but when I accurately recited an obscure parameter from some function library, everyone shut up. Their gazes shifted from doubt to shock and finally to fervent admiration. In their eyes, I was practically a living code repository, a walking deity. Olivia also stayed by my side the entire time. She managed coordination, brought me coffee, and even gave me ice packs for my face when I was on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion. Once I couldn't take it anymore and dozed off in my chair. In my semi-conscious state, I felt someone drape a light jacket with a faint, pleasant scent over me. I opened my eyes and saw Olivia standing beside me, quietly watching. Her eyes no longer held their usual detachment or wariness. Instead, there was a hint of something I couldn't quite decipher. A tenderness. Thanks, I murmured. She shook her head, handed me a hot coffee. Just one last section. Hang in there. I nodded, took a sip of coffee. The bitter liquid slid down my throat, and I felt a jolt of renewed focus. I looked at this calm, capable woman, and a strange feeling stirred within me. Perhaps being Marcus Thorne wasn't so bad after all. 72 hours later, when the last line of code compiled successfully and test passed flash green on the screen, the entire server room erupted in thunderous cheers. Everyone was hugging, yelling, crying. I leaned back in my chair, feeling utterly drained, yet my spirit was more fulfilled than ever before. I did it. I, Ethan Miller, a deadbeat, had led a team of top programmers to rewrite an entire operating system in 3 days. Who would believe that? Emergency mission completed. Turn the tide. Mission Loire. Permanence qu'il code intuition acquired. You can now instantly spot bugs in code and possess top-tier system architecture capabilities. Special reward. due to host's outstanding performance. Unlocked bond level with key individual Olivia Chun. Current affection level 20, friendly. I looked at the system panel and smiled. Marcus Thorne, you thought you could trap me like this? You're still too green. You only stole an old version of the code. But I will create a brand new Ascendant OS, one that belongs to me, Ethan Miller. The launch event for Ascendant OS 3.1 was scheduled for a week later. That week, the entire company ran like a tightly wound machine, operating at hyperspeed. I, however, took a day off for the first time in forever. I drove my car back to my old apartment complex. I wanted to see Marcus Thorne. I wanted to see how that once unrivaled man was living in my dilapidated body. I parked downstairs but didn't go up. I sat in the car and lit a cigarette. Thorne didn't smoke, so it felt awkward, making me cough. Before long, I saw him. He was wearing a faded, cheap tracksuit, his hair disheveled, stubble on his chin, eyes hollow. He looked even more run down than I'd been. He carried a plastic bag containing a few stale buns and a packet of pickles. That was his dinner for the night. He walked into the building, head down, hurrying like a rat, avoiding the light. I watched his retreating back, a mix of emotions swirling within me. There was no imagined triumph, but rather a strange, indescribable sense of absurdity and sympathy. Was this fate, to bind two vastly different men together in the most extreme way? I rolled down the window and put out the cigarette. Just then, a familiar figure appeared. It was my ex-girlfriend, Ashley. She was dressed to the nines, arm linked with a slick, self-satisfied man, stepping out of a BMW. I recognized him. Chad Harrison, an old classmate, a typical trust fund kid. He was the one who poached my girlfriend. They laughed and chatted, heading towards the building entrance. My heart tightened. They were going upstairs. They would run into Marcus Thorne. Sure enough, in a narrow hallway, the two parties collided. Ashley saw Marcus Thorne wear my body. Her smile instantly froze, replaced by undisguised disgust and scorn. Ethan, you're still here? You're like a bad penny. Chad, the trust fund kid, put an arm around Ashley, looking down at Thorne with eyes that saw him as garbage. Well, if it isn't our former CEO, Ethan Miller. Heard your company went bust. Things must be pretty bad if you can't even afford a decent meal. Huh? Marcus Thorne, or rather, the current Ethan Miller, looked up, his eyes icy. He didn't say anything. With his arrogance, he wouldn't deign to argue with such people. But to Ashley, this was weakness and incompetence. What are you staring at? She shrieked. I must have been blind to ever be with you. Look at you now. You're not even fit to shine Chad's shoes. Honey, don't waste your breath on trash like this. Let's go up. I bought you a new La Mer skincare set to try. Chad kissed Ashley, then steered her upstairs. As they passed Thorne, he deliberately bumped him, knocking the plastic bag from Thorne's hand. The buns and pickles scattered across the floor. Chad laughed heartily, then walked off with Ashley, arm in arm. Only Marcus Thorne remained in the hallway. He stood silently, looking at the buns on the floor. After a long moment, he bent down, picking up the buns one by one, blowing off the dust and placing them back in the bag. Then, he looked up in the direction of my parked car. Our eyes met across the distance. I couldn't make out his expression, but I could feel the fierce fire burning in his eyes. It was the look of a cornered beast. I quietly started the car and drove away. I suddenly realized I might have made a mistake. I just wanted to get revenge on Marcus Thorne, to make him suffer what I had suffered. But I forgot. He was using my identity, my face. Every humiliation he endured, in a way, was also humiliating the Ethan Miller of the past. And I, like a spectator, hid in Marcus Thorne's body, watching dispassionately. What was this? Pot calling the kettle black. Back at the company, I locked myself in my office, silent. Olivia seemed to notice my unusual mood. Mr. Thorne, are you all right? She poured me a glass of water. I'm fine. I shook my head. Is it about Ethan Miller? She asked cautiously. I looked up surprised. You know about it. You forgot. I'm the one who helped you investigate him, Olivia said. His life hasn't been easy lately. Not only is he being hounded by old creditors, but he's also... She trailed off, but I knew what she meant to say. He was also enduring the humiliation from my ex-girlfriend and rival. Mr. Thorne. Olivia looked at me, her eyes serious. I don't know what kind of history you have with Ethan Miller, but I can see that you've changed recently. The old you was like a precise machine, always calculating, always weighing pros and cons. You wouldn't care if employees were happy. You wouldn't care about a project's failure. And you certainly wouldn't have pushed yourself to the limit for the company like you have these past few days. The current you is more like a human being. Her words struck me like a hammer. Had I changed? Perhaps. As I wore Marcus Thorne's body, wielding his power to execute the absurd ideas I never dared to dream of, as I watched employees cheer because of my decisions, as I fought alongside those tech geeks for a common goal, I think I found a piece of what I had lost. That thing called value and sense of belonging. Olivia, I looked at her. If one day I'm no longer Marcus Thorne, would you? She interrupted me before I could finish. You'll always be Mr. Thorne, she said, looking into my eyes, every word firm. To me, you will be. My heart skipped a beat. This woman, did she see through me? Or did she fall for the interesting soul occupying this body, rather than the symbol called Marcus Thorne? I dared not think further. How are the preparations for the launch event coming along? I changed the subject. Everything is on track. Olivia reverted to her professional tone. Venue, media, schedule, all confirmed. We're just waiting for you to take the stage and surprise the world. Good. I stood up, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, and looked out at the city lights below. Tell Marcus Thorne, I said, I've reserved a VIP seat in the front row for him at the launch event. I hope he comes to see with his own eyes how I destroy everything he built or rebuild his empire. Marcus Thorne, our war has just begun. But this time, I didn't just want mere revenge. I wanted to win fairly and squarely, my way, Ethan Miller's way. On the day of the launch event, the venue was packed. Domestic and international media, tech influencers, partners, investors. Almost every notable figure was there. Everyone wanted to know what kind of show the supposedly crazy Marcus Thorne and his tottering Ascendant Dynamics would put on today. Backstage, I stood in a well-tailored dark blue suit, gazing at my reflection, feeling a strange sense of unreality. Everything that had happened these past few weeks felt like a dream. Olivia walked over, helping me straighten my tie. Her fingers were cool, carrying a hint of nervousness. Don't worry, I smiled at her. Today, we're the stars. She nodded, her eyes full of trust and encouragement. Mr. Thorne, he's here, a staff member announced. I knew who he referred to. Through the backstage monitor, I saw Marcus Thorne sitting in the front row. He was wearing a relatively clean, if cheap, outfit, and his hair was combed, but it couldn't hide his exhaustion and fatigue. He sat alone, completely out of place among the impeccably dressed guests. He watched the stage, his expression complex. Anger, unwillingness, and even a hint of anticipation. What was he anticipating? That I would screw everything up, giving him a chance to mock me? Or that I would turn things around and save the fruit of his labor? I couldn't tell. Mr. Thorne, it's time. I took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The spotlight hit me, and instantly, all the flash bulbs aimed in my direction. I squinted a little, unaccustomed to the glare, then flashed a roguish, Ethan Miller smile. Hello, everyone. I'm Marcus Thorne. A stir went through the audience. This opening line was so un-Marcus Thorne. The old Thorne never wasted a word. Taking the stage meant straight to PPTs and data. I know you're all here today, not to hear about groundbreaking tech or see flashy new products. You're here for one thing. I paused, scanning the audience, my gaze finally settling on Marcus Thorne's face. You want to know if I, Marcus Thorne, have gone completely insane? The audience roared with laughter. Thorne's face darkened like thunder. I can tell you responsibly. I raised my voice. I haven't gone crazy. I've just had an epiphany. Before, I thought running a company was about data, profit, market value. I treated my employees like machines, and I lived my life like code. I thought I owned the world, but in reality, I had nothing. It wasn't until recently, after going through some things, that I realized the company's most important asset isn't its technology or its capital. It's its people. The people who are willing to believe in you, to cry with you, to laugh with you, to fight alongside you. I looked at the Ascendant Dynamics employees in the audience. Their eyes sparkled. So I made some changes. I abolished the 24/7 grind. I took everyone to plant vegetables, to play games. Many people said I'd lost my mind, that Ascendant was doomed. Today, I'm here to tell those people. I turned and pointed to the giant screen behind me. You were wrong. The screen blazed with the sleek logo of Ascendant OS 3.1. Today, we are not just launching an operating system. We are launching a brand new, human-centric, joy-driven, smart ecosystem. Over the next hour, I detailed the various new features of Ascendant OS 3.1. Many of these features were my spontaneous ideas, which I tasked the tech team with implementing at the last minute. For example, the Slacker mode. When activated, the phone automatically blocked all work-related messages and generated an AI-created, impressive-looking work report. Another example, the Burn Book Assistant. When you're arguing with someone on social media, the AI automatically analyzed their logical fallacies and provided the most cutting, most devastating comebacks. And then there was the compliment generator. It automatically sent you a unique, daily compliment, boosting your self-confidence through the roof. The audience's expressions morphed from initial bewilderment to curiosity and finally to fervent enthusiasm. Holy cow, this Slacker mode is a lifesaver for office workers. Burn Book Assistant? Sign me up. I need to roast my toxic ex. This phone OS is so much fun. What does it launch? I'm buying it. The media photographer's flashes were practically blinding me. They knew. Tomorrow, no, tonight, the tech headlines were set. Watching the enthusiastic reaction from the audience, a huge weight finally lifted from my shoulders. I won the gamble. I used the most Ethan Miller approach to captivate users who were suffering from aesthetic fatigue from traditional tech launches. Finally, I looked at Marcus Thorne in the front row. He watched me silently, his face devoid of any expression. But I knew, internally, a storm was raging, because the features I launched completely overturned his understanding of what a product should be. He believed in elitism, in technology above all, and I believe in grassroots, in the user above all. This was the ultimate clash of two value systems. Finally, I picked up a remote. I want to announce the open source plan for Ascendant OS 3.1. Starting today, all underlying code for Ascendant OS 3.1 will be freely accessible to developers worldwide. Boom! The entire hall erupted. Everyone stood up, staring at me in disbelief. Open source. This was equivalent to publicly revealing your very lifeline. Marcus Thorne also shot to his feet, glaring at me, his eyes bloodshot. I knew I had touched his last nerve. Marcus, you're insane, he finally snapped, yelling at me. Though he used my voice, the roar was filled with his own authority and rage. Security personnel immediately moved to restrain him. I waved them off, signaling them to stand down. I walked off the stage, microphone in hand, step by step, until I stood directly in front of him. I'm not insane, I said, looking into his eyes calmly. I just refuse to be bound by the rules you created anymore. You treated code as your private property, your fortress. I'm going to turn it into a global asset, an open, collaborative ecosystem. You were afraid of losing control. I embrace the infinite possibilities that come with it. Marcus Thorne, your way is obsolete. He stared at me, his body trembling slightly. You'll destroy Ascendant. You'll destroy everything I built. He mumbled. No, I shook my head. I'll give it new life. I handed him the microphone. Now, I'm giving you a chance. In front of everyone, tell them that you are the real Marcus Thorne, and I am just a fraud occupying his body. He froze. He looked at me, then at the countless cameras and astonished faces around him. He knew if he spoke, I would be disgraced. But what about him? A ragged deadbeat in cheap clothes claiming to be a multi-billion-dollar business magnate. Who would believe him? He would only be seen as a lunatic, a clown seeking attention. He would lose the last shred of his dignity. It was a no-win situation. Choose mutual destruction, or he remained silent for a long time. So long that everyone thought it was just a staged dramatic performance for the launch event. Then he took the microphone. He looked at me, a flicker of complex emotions in his eyes, struggle, pain, before settling into a dead calm. He's right. He spoke, his voice hoarse. The Marcus Thorne of the past is dead. Standing before you now is a new Ascendant, a new era. With that, he put down the microphone, turned, and silently left the venue. I watched his desolate back, an unreadable feeling in my heart. I knew that from this moment on, he had conceded, and I, Ethan Miller, had thoroughly completely won. After the launch event, Ascendant Dynamics stock price rebounded from its low, skyrocketing to an all-time high. Ascendant OS 3.1 foot and its unconventional features exploded across the internet, becoming the product of the year. The open-source initiative attracted countless top developers worldwide, and Ascendant's ecosystem expanded at an unprecedented rate. Ethan Miller, became the hottest new titan in the tech world. The media painted me as an unconventional genius, full of charisma. Only I knew I was just a ridiculously lucky fraud. My relationship with Olivia also grew closer. She seemed to have fully embraced my change, and in fact enjoyed it. Sometimes we would water the rooftop garden together. Sometimes she would join me in the office gaming lounge, even though she was terrible at it. Neither of us ever explicitly stated our feelings, but we both knew things were different between us. As for Marcus Thorne, after the launch event, he disappeared. I sent people to look for him, but there was no trace. He had vanished, as if into thin air. A lingering unease remained in my heart, until one day, a month later, ding! Congratulations, host! You have completed the final mission. Phoenix Rising. System detected. Target individual, Marcus Thorne, has completely abandoned old obsessions and found a new life purpose. Karma Kicker system missions are all complete and will now proceed with uninstallation. Uninstallation countdown, 10, 9, 8. Wait, I panicked. What happens if it uninstalls? Will I turn back? Soul swap state will be terminated. 3, 2, 1. System uninstallation complete. Have a pleasant life, host. The synthetic voice faded. Almost simultaneously, I felt a dizzying sensation, my vision blurred, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I found myself in a place both familiar and strange. A hospital room. I looked down at my hands. They were my hands, Ethan Miller's, a little rough. I felt my stomach. That unified dad bod was back. I was back. I was Ethan Miller again. The hospital room door opened, and Olivia walked in. She saw I was awake, paused. Then her eyes welled up. You're awake. What happened? I asked. You collapsed, she said. In the office. The doctor said it was extreme exhaustion. Her eyes flickered, avoiding my gaze. I understood. She spoke of refer to Marcus Thorne. Just then, the hospital TV played a news flash. Now, a breaking news update. Today, at a charity event for a remote community school in the Rockies, we spotted a familiar face. Marcus Thorne, founder of Ascendant Dynamics, who announced his resignation from all positions a month ago, has dedicated himself to philanthropy. Reportedly, Mr. Thorne has personally donated $100 million to establish the Ascendant Education Fund, focused on improving education in underprivileged regions. On the TV screen, Marcus Thorne, in my body, stood among a group of children, a genuine smile on his face that I'd never seen before. He looked darker, thinner, but his eyes were filled with light. Suddenly, everything clicked. Marcus Thorne hadn't disappeared. He had simply used my body to complete his own redemption. And I looked at the bedside table. There was a bank card and a note. On the note, in Marcus's distinctive, elegant handwriting, $3 million, principal and interest, repaid. From now on, we're even. Marcus Thorne, I picked up the bank card and smiled. Tears streamed down my face. Olivia silently handed me a tissue. He told you everything. I asked. She nodded. While you were unconscious. Then I told you to me. You'll always be Mr. Thorne. She looked at me, her eyes firm. No matter whose body you're in. I looked at her, a warm feeling spreading through me. So, I ventured, now that I'm broke again, and still a deadbeat. He transferred 10% of Ascendant Dynamics shares to you. Olivia interrupted. He said you earned it. So, you're not a deadbeat anymore. You're Ethan Miller, the multimillionaire CEO. Me. The highs and lows of life were truly exhilarating. So, Mr. Miller. Olivia's lips curved into a rare, playful smile. Are you free this afternoon? I'd like to treat you to a movie. I looked into her bright eyes, my heart pounding. I cleared my throat, trying my best not to look like a country bumpkin who'd never seen the world. A movie sound good, I said, but I have one condition. What's that? After the movie, we go across the street and get some spicy street tacos. Extra hot sauce. Olivia paused, then laughed. a laugh as beautiful as spring blossoms. "Deal," she said. "Mr. Miller." The sun was shining. My new life, Ethan Miller's life, had just begun. And